with PT Monster. What's going on, PT?
Nothing much. How's it going? How's it going?
It's good, it's good. So today is a pretty great day. The
The beginning
last,
of the end.
literally the beginning of the end. Let's just, oh my God. So I went to bed last night just super excited for this new episode. I didn't know anything about it. All I knew is just like things are about to get crazy. Because what else? You're caught up, right? You've seen
Yes.
everything. Okay, so we went through the Battle of Mandalore. Ahsoka fought Darth Maul, which is a very awesome fight.
Agreed. And it looks so realistic. I didn't realize that they used actual real actors to do that scene, but they
yeah.
did.
So you can
And it
like
looks
look.
so much smoother.
Yes, yes. I was about to say that. Like, if you look at the old Clone Wars episodes, you can kind of tell it's animated because like everything seems so fast and like stiff when they're having lightsaber
Yeah, it's
battles.
more choppy. It's almost
Yes.
kind of like an anime episode being drawn out, where it's just so fast you can't really tell what's going on, but it suits the series of its purpose though.
Sure,
Up
I
until
agree.
this final fight with Darth
Wow.
Maul and Ahsoka, like that was a lot more than I was expecting for that fight.
And to go off of what you said about not expecting, what an episode.
Hmm.
Season 7, Episode 11 is by far the best episode of this entire series. In my opinion, at least. This right here, okay. As a kid, I still remember the day that I went with some family friends to go see Revenge of the Sith, and you saw everything, and you saw that moment where like Anakin and Obi-Wan are best friends, everything's good, and then it changes. There's that moment in the middle of it where it just goes from light to dark super fast,
Right.
and that's where Okay, we gotta talk about the episode. I'm about to get lost and just. Oh, okay. To start off, there's a few things I want to talk about. Let's just go over the episode and exactly what happened. So they capture Darth Maul. So Darth Maul gets placed into this chamber, which there's actually something to think about that. Did you notice like what they were talking about with the chamber that he was locked in?
No, I didn't notice that, and I'm actually about to go back and watch that scene so I can figure out what you exactly meant by it.
Basically, all the only thing it's not super crazy, but like apparently those chambers, like that prison chamber that Darth Maul is in, there
Yeah.
used to be a lot of those, and she said, and the girl, I can't remember her name, she's from Mandalore, the person that Ahsoka teamed up with, she was like, yeah, we used to have a lot of them for you crazy Jedi back in the day. And I
Hmm.
thought to myself, Mandalorian Wars?
Maybe.
Could that have been like a thing, like, because it's hinting at like there was a previous thing or some conflict with the Jedi that they needed to like, if they captured them, they would have to keep them in a place where they couldn't escape.
Yeah,
So I'm
that
just
could
like,
mean one of two different things. It could be the actual Mandalorian Wars, or it could have been something as simple as bounty hunting, where they would try and capture Jedi.
sure, sure.
It's one of those. I figure it would be one of those two things, with the more likely being that it was Mandalorian Wars. If Dave Filoni is actually putting that in the series for us to kind of munch on, I guess, and a little bit of a shout out to Knights of the Old Republic and that sort of thing.
Because that's
I
how I
hope that's
took
what
it.
he's doing.
Same,
Yeah,
same.
I hope that's what it is, but we'll have to see. Since they're trying to
Absolutely.
do all these new revisions, since Kathleen Kennedy, thank God, has been kicked out of the franchise,
All God's people
maybe
said
that's what
amen.
yes, maybe that's what we're going to see. I don't know though.
Dude, that just makes you think that the next animated series is going to be Old Republic.
It might be,
That
and
would
I
be
hope they.
nuts. Oh,
Well, okay. So another thing, while we're on that topic of
yeah.
Old Republic, there is a game called Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Just in case you haven't heard of it,
Hmm.
it's a
I
mobile
played it.
game, and I'm playing it right now as well because I used to play it a long time ago whenever it first
Same,
came out. Because I was like,
same.
okay, this would be pretty cool. It's a decent strategy game,
Hmm.
and I played it. And now, if you go through what's in that actual app, let me pull it up real quick, and I'll just talk through it
Hmm.
because there's challenges currently in this game to where you can defeat the Sith Triumvirate, which is Darth Traya, Nihilus, and Darth Sion.
Are you
That's one of the
serious?
challenges. Yeah, I'm dead serious.
I
And
actually may
then you can
re-download just for that.
and you can. Well, I'm not nearly powerful enough to even get started on this game, so I mean, I'm like level 81,
Hmm.
so that shows you how far I got, but I'm still not powerful enough. That's the one thing I don't like about this game. The microtransactions, the power of the microtransactions is strong
Yeah,
with this one.
yeah.
So if you look at it, it's I don't know if it's Secrets and Shadows. Where is it?
But yeah, let's you
don't
keep
know,
looking
but
at that. Let's keep going back with the episode.
I've got it pretty much pulled up. I'll just
Okay.
go ahead and show you.
Okay.
So some of the uh, Jedi that you can get in this that are a shout out to the Old Republic are you can get Jedi Revan, Darth Revan, Darth Nihilus. Jolie Bindo is now in this.
Are you what?
I'm serious.
That's
Jolie Bindo is in
awesome.
this. Canderous Ordo, Darth Malik.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
Because there's like I remember playing. Because there's like a light side team, there's a dark side team, and like you do different
yes.
missions and stuff.
And you
That's
can
cool.
get like the Sith Empire Trooper, the Sith Assassin, Visas Mar. She's in here as well now.
Yeah.
The Sith
The
Marauder.
Luke. Is that her?
Yeah.
Yeah, Luke. Yeah.
The Miralukan?
Miraluka. Yeah.
T3M4, which is out of the game. That was the little droid that he was with. And
Yep.
Vandor Chewbacca.
There has to be freaking HK-47. There has to be HK.
HK-47's been in it for a long time, even
Yeah.
before they started adding those characters. But you can get Darth Sion, Darth Tread, Darth Nihilus. Darth Nihilus is OP. And you can get Bastila Shan as the Jedi or as Fallen Bastila. So you get to see her on both the light and the dark side.
I may actually end up picking that up and messing with that
It's-
again because I used to love playing that. So I had
Yeah,
fives, I had Rex, I tried doing just like a clone regiment in my team, which is probably not the best because it's not very balanced, but still
Yeah.
fun.
I agree.
Dang.
But anyways, we'll get back to what we were originally talking about. I
Yes.
just thought we'd get off on that tangent real quick.
No, hey, that's okay because
But
it's a
the
good thing
reason-
to talk about.
The reason why I said that is because, I mean, maybe we are going to get to see some kind of Old Republic thing. That was where that tangent was leading to.
Got you. Yeah, I'm not. I would be lying to you if I said I was completely calm right now. I also ran 2 miles today, so I'm feeling pretty good. But the second thing is, this episode literally just revitalized my love for Star Wars.
Right.
Like I have never felt more. Oh my god. So let's just keep talking about it. Okay. Second point I want to talk about parallels to Revenge of the Sith. Ahsoka is always missing Anakin by just moments. It's so crazy to think that like they piece together. Ahsoka's always just trying to get back in touch with Anakin ever since like they split up, and she keeps missing him. She got in contact with Obi-Wan when he was on Utapau. She literally just in this episode where you see Anakin, Kai Mundi, and Yoda talking about they sense a plot to destroy the Jedi. That scene, and she just missed Anakin again, and like also. I have a big point here. Windu is a massive dick.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that the Clone Wars does an excellent job of figuring out just how dark he really is.
Yeah, I hated Windu. God, I was like, no, Windu's dead. You know what? Nah, screw Windu. He was a jerk in Revenge of the Sith. He was a jerk to Ahsoka just now. He literally captured Maul that no one else was successful doing. Okay, but so the part after this is what I really want to talk about. You remember Revenge of the Sith where like Anakin's really struggling to make that choice. What is he going to do? Like the music gets all crazy. Not really crazy, but it gets all somber and it's very just like the chorus comes in and like you see Padme like looking from a distance at the temple and Anakin's looking at their house from the temple. And he's just having this moment of what is he going to do? He can't bear the sight of losing Padme. You know what's funny about that? We feel that same moment as Darth Maul is being put into the prison chamber, and like there's this whole quietness to it as they get back onto the ship, as they just move him into the ship, into the prison sector. You know what I'm talking about? Where the music just kind of goes, it gets eerily quiet.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like that one mission in the original Star Wars Battlefront 2 where you're doing the Nightfall mission.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the things that he says is that we all remember how quiet it was.
Yeah.
So that kind of brought it up too. Whenever you said it's just somber and quiet, and that's the same way it is with that mission in particular.
I got goosebumps, dude.
I know, I've got them too.
Oh man, because it literally what I'm thinking is happening is when that moment is happening, that's Anakin choosing what he's going to do. When he's sharing the moment with Padme, that's exactly what's happening. They're playing at this is the same time. And then, okay, go to our next point. And PC also has this list. He also has some things you want to talk about as well. So feel free to jump in whenever you want.
This one can be at the very end, whenever we can get to what can we expect from the season finale.
Dude, sweet. That's what I want to talk about too. Yes,
Yeah.
sweet, perfect. We're already in sync. So yeah, the music. God, my throat just got dry. Oh, jeez. Okay. So that was my point. My fifth point. The music builds up to Order 66. How powerful is that? So we already talked about that. Clone guards, the guys in red. Every time you see them, you know shit's going down.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, it's nuts to think that, like, when Ahsoka was trapped or she was taken prisoner because they thought that she betrayed the Jedi and she gets arrested, clone guards everywhere. And now, here's my biggest question. Where do those clone guards come from? They were nowhere on the ship when they went to Mandalore. So where did these clone guards come from? I guess
they're usually on Coruscant. They're the Coruscant guard.
My only idea is maybe they came from Coruscant to get Maul. But then again, I'm telling you, they have another name, like the Shock Troopers. If I remember correctly, because I remember having this big book that had all this Star Wars stuff and memorabilia on it that explained the different stuff with the clones. I remember they were called Shock Troopers. Dude, it's like everywhere you see Shock Troopers, nothing good is going on. And if I remember correctly, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm pretty sure they had to know. They knew what was going to happen. Because I feel like, is it not the Clone Guard Commander Fox? Was he not very close to the Emperor? Like,
I don't know. I don't know the specifics with him, but I would assume that he probably is.
Yeah, because I don't know why. I keep thinking that, like, I feel like the Clone Guards knew what was going on. And okay, that goes to my next point. Okay. Yeah. So again, they weren't there, but now they are there. So let's talk about the irony of the clones with Ahsoka's face. So when Anakin's like, "Hey, these guys have been waiting for you. You'll never find someone more trustworthy than a clone."
I know.
I'm just
That's
like,
funny because that was like from 2 or 3 episodes ago, and I was sitting there thinking they are really setting this up.
She don't even know what's coming.
Yeah.
And Rex and Ahsoka are having this very deep talk. That's actually my next point. Rex and Ahsoka are talking about the war, the conclusion they draw about the clones' meaning of existing, and Ahsoka saying that there was good for them being alive because Ahsoka wouldn't have made the close relationship she's ever made with Rex and the other clones through the years. And then I'm just, oh my god, it's because Rex himself said, like, if we were only bred for war, so we don't really even know what else we're meant for, but they had a purpose. There was a meaning to them the entire time, and it's really funny hearing them talk about that irony, because the clones are thinking the entire time they didn't even want the war. They have mixed feelings about it, so why were they even alive? And Ahsoka was like, "Well, you're my best friend." He's like, "Oh, I'm your best friend too." "Oh, we have some intel coming. You want to hear it?" She says, "Nah, I'm good." So then this is where the pivotal moment happens. I gotta turn this music off on my Final Fantasy. I'm using Final Fantasy as the thing
as your backdrop for your
a backdrop.
Yeah, I figured.
At some point, I want to go live action and actually have I probably won't use my face, but something different. But at some point, we'll change it. But okay, so then what's really ironic is that Darth Maul and Ahsoka, because they are force sensitive, and you see in Jedi Fallen Order too. I can't remember the guy's name, but his master sensed it. Cal, yeah, his master sensed what went down with Order 66.
Yeah, I remember that because I remembered seeing some of the playthrough of it. And I was like, oh, okay, so this starts at Order 66.
Yeah, and Ahsoka literally saw what happened. She felt something happen with Anakin. And did you notice anything interesting about the actual dialogue when she was hearing that?
I noticed it. It was like straight out of Revenge of the Sith.
There it is, smart. But did you also notice the last thing Anakin said? That was not the Hayden Christensen voice. That was the Clone Wars Anakin voice.
I didn't hear that part.
The last thing he says is,
"What have I done?"
What have I done? That was not Hayden Christensen's voice.
I didn't notice that part, but I noticed everything else.
Yeah, I was like, huh, that's interesting. I like how they I guess they're trying to do a parallel and then bring it back to Clone Wars to kind of come back to reality a little bit, into the Clone Wars reality. So when she feels this, the point of view, the camera switches to Rex, and then you see Darth Sidious now say,
Yeah,
"Execute Order 66." Yes, Lord Sidious. You know what's also funny about that? They know that he's Lord Sidious. So what I'm
yeah,
assuming is when they issue Order 66, like they're programmed to know, okay, it's no longer Palpatine, it's Sidious.
yeah.
So it makes me wonder, did they already know that, or is that just because like the thing in their brain just gives them that information?
That's straight from the inhibitor ship. There
Okay.
ain't no way that they could have just known that automatically because really Palpatine never. I would assume he never really went to Camino to actually overlook what was happening
With Cypher
with
D,
the clones. Yeah, because that was all Dooku, really, because they knew
mm-hmm.
him as Sifo-Dyas, and they thought that Sifo-Dyas was the one that actually did all of that, but it was really Count Dooku took over from there and then went back to Palpatine, and that's whenever they planted the inhibitor chip into their brains.
So let's talk about the most heartbreaking scene in the episode. And I just felt like this whole moment just got very dark right here.
Yeah,
And then he says it'll be done with Lauren. Ahsoka comes in and says, "Hey, I think something happened to Anakin. What's going on?" Then you start hearing the radio chatter from the clones. You never hear them on radio before. Like you never hear them go, they're listening in, they're getting orders and stuff right through their headset, and they turn around getting their blasters ready. Like
yeah,
I feel like that radio almost seems like it makes the Jedi feel alien to the clones now, because like
yeah.
it's like something else is going on that the Jedi don't even know about. And so like they can't even, they're not letting the Jedi know. But anywho, so Rex comes up. He says, "No, I'll do it." And Ahsoka's like, "Rex, what's going on?" He pulls out his guns and he says, "Don't get any closer." And you see the tears welling up in his eyes. And then he was like, "Fives, find him, find him." Starts firing. What
Yeah,
a powerful scene.
because
Because
that took everything in his willpower to actually even get that out.
yes,
There
I
ain't no way he could have done that after that.
I saw a funny comment, and it's like, dang, Rex is like, Rex is like, what is such a good friend, and then Cody was like, another day in the office, shoot Obi-Wan down without a second thought. And but no, I actually saw a theory about it, why he was able to resist, and I think it's because of what happened with Fives. And we'll talk about that
Yeah,
later because Rex did have some inclination that something was going on. Uh, but he said, no, find Fives. Find him, starts opening fire. And then Ahsoka doesn't kill him, thank God. She knocks him out for a second, kills the other clones, and then the music just bursts, dude. It's so overwhelming because, like, at that moment, every Jedi in the world is getting, and all of the galaxy are getting gunned down.
yeah.
And, like, they're oh my God.
And she's one
It,
of the only ones that had survived the initial onslaught of Order 66, bar Obi-Wan just barely getting missed on the cliffside in Utapau, and Yoda knew it from the get-go.
Like he felt it, and Aayla Secura gets gunned down in the back, and
Exactly.
they massacred her. And so you see Ahsoka come in, and she tackles Rex. His head smacks against the console. Then the ARC Trooper Jesse comes in, and clone guards, and the clone guards are there. Why were they there? I swear, because it doesn't make, it's weird to me to see clone guards just mixing in with the 501st just for no reason. Because
Yeah.
shouldn't they be guarding Maul?
Well, they were guarding Maul because they're really the primary detention unit of the entire Clone Wars. They're
Yes.
the ones that you see, of course, in on Coruscant, where you have the prisoners and where Ahsoka was kept and all that. So I'm pretty sure that was their main objective, was to guard prisoners and prisoners only. But they were just there as backup too.
God.
I don't know if it's so much that they knew that the order for 66 was going to come out, but that was part of their primary job.
Did you notice how Ahsoka escaped?
Yeah, she blocked all of the shots up into the ceiling and then
Yes,
jumped down.
nice. It took me a second to realize what happened there because I had to watch it again because I thought she just like okay she just cut it open and she left. No, if you look at it, she directs all of that blaster fire. 10 guys gunning at her. Well,
Yeah,
she honestly should be dead, but I guess it's because she's such a freaking badass. She
yeah. And
blocks
she was
all
trained
that.
by the most powerful Jedi in the Order besides Yoda.
Yeah, true. So she escapes, and then you see just Rex kind of just completely snap into like Order 66 mode. Starts directing people. He's now a commander now, which is crazy to think. It took him
Yeah,
the entire Clone Wars to just give him commander where he should have been commander the entire time.
for
Whatever.
real.
That was so. That's a weird. That's weird. But anywho,
Yeah, it's a weird little turn of events because seeing him in the command position, it should have been done a long time
a
ago. But then
way
again,
long time ago.
that was always Ahsoka's thing too.
So that brings me to my next point. Interesting that she was marked for termination, though she's no longer a Jedi.
Yeah, but I don't think it so much matters about the actual stance of being in the Jedi Order or not. It was so much if you had the lightsaber, you were gunned down.
I feel like this is also Palpatine's doing too. Like
Oh
he
yeah, for
was
sure.
like that's why that's I have Palpatine's doing question mark because again she said she's no longer a Jedi. She's a civilian doing providing justice where it needs to be happening, and so they still go after her. Okay, so the whole Maul thing is interesting, but like I don't really have any points to talk about with Maul. She goes to save Maul from being killed, and then she says, "Hey, go and make a scene. I'm not rooting for you. I need you to make a distraction because she's
Yeah.
going to try and get Rex." So Maul goes out and he literally massacres
Oh my gosh.
these
I
clones.
was I was surprised at where they went with all that violence. It
They
literally
oh
took the siding off of the ship and just threw it and decapitated like a group of clones. I was like,
yep.
oh
And then
shit!
through another one, cut a guy basically in half, but they
Oh
couldn't
my
show
gosh!
that. They cut a guy in half. Then, well, with the one clone had a gun left, grabs his arm and gets his arm chopped off. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
that was.
God,
We haven't seen that kind of violence in since season 5.
yeah, it's
It's
been a
like season
minute.
5 was. If you remember season 5, I think the first episode of season 5 was. I think it was something to do with Asajj Ventress and the
That's
guard.
right. No,
Yeah,
the commander, the
because
arc commander. Yeah,
she straight up like stabs him, kisses him on the cheek, and then just drops his body. And
yeah.
another one, it was
Grievous, right?
it was another part of the Coruscant Guard, but it was the ones that was in the blue suits or whatever, and they weren't clones. They were
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
yeah. He was like stabbed through the back with Asajj Ventress, and you could see the lightsaber coming out of his chest. We have not seen that kind of violence since season 5 and 6,
yeah. You haven't. No, you're right.
but I love it.
It's nice because like Darth Maul, it just shows how like Darth Maul doesn't give a rat's ass. Like he's killing
Exactly.
everything. And so yeah, so it goes back to Ahsoka and she finds her droids. That's actually her droid from season 1.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was looking up some stuff on Reddit and seeing what people thought, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So, and I think these droids are also, if I don't remember correctly, because it's been a long time since I've seen that episode, but when they had the droid mission,
Yeah,
yeah, because I think all the Republic was meeting for like a big strategy meeting or something, and then these droids were stopping a separatist of ambush or whatever. So I don't know if they were a
yeah.
part of that, but I
I know
found that
one of them
interesting.
was. The
Yeah.
black one was part of that mission. I don't know about the
Okay,
other one.
yes. Okay, I knew it
If
was
the other
one
one,
of them.
if the other one was, I really don't remember what its purpose was, but I know the black one was the one that housed the general that was like a small frog.
Yes.
Yeah, that was what
Yeah, that's right.
he was. He was like a general or something, but I can't remember his name.
Well, so this is where Ahsoka finds out about Fives, and then she gets the Kaminoan debrief on what his situation was, and basically his inhibitor chip shorted out. And then there's another secret message that couldn't have been read by anybody. So I found it interesting that Anakin's security code could open that.
Yeah,
8108. I don't know if those numbers have any meaning or semblance, but like all I do know is like I find it interesting that it was under Anakin's authorization code. So it makes you wonder, did
yeah.
Anakin see this before? Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, which is really interesting to know or to think about.
Well, the thing is, they kind of knew that the whole Clone Wars thing was situated from somebody that wasn't Sifo-Dyas. They just knew that they were going to play along with it. They weren't going to let this news get out either. So
Yeah.
it was kind of it's one of those things. Everybody kind of knew something was going on, but they didn't dare say what exactly up until the point that you get to right before Order 66 starts, when you hear Mace Windu say, "I sent the plot to destroy the Jedi." That
Hmm.
thing. So really, they knew something was going on, and they knew about the initial. Okay, these clones were not commissioned by us, and they weren't commissioned by Sifo-Dyas. It was commissioned by somebody else. And then they eventually find out it's Count Dooku, and they're like, we don't know what to do now because, well, we're kind of screwed. Might as well just keep this under wraps, not tell anybody. We're just going to see how this goes. 10,000 Jedi killed.
Yeah.
That's what it leads to.
And I'm wondering if that situation was further compounded with Darth Sidious clouding the Jedi's way of
Yes.
seeing the Force because he was so close to them and he knew how to manipulate the Force. So I'm wondering if
And
that was a
also,
part
did
of
you
it.
know that there is a Sith shrine underneath the Capitol? Like and underneath the Jedi Temple itself.
I did not know that.
There is one. And that was from previous wars, like I think it was the Sith War, whenever they had eventually the
Is that from the
Jedi
Old
had
Republic?
kind of from the Old Republic, but it's still canon.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So there's a Sith shrine underneath the temple,
Is that from
and they
like is
built
that
on
from the
top.
game? Like the online game?
I don't know,
Okay.
but I know this for sure because it is in canon somewhere. I can't reference where exactly, but you can look it up on YouTube and you can find a video of that. But the thing is, it's underneath the temple. Palpatine knows this. He uses that to his advantage to where it clouds the Jedi's mind. Because I mean, it's right
Mm.
underneath there. All you have to do is put a little bit of power into it, and then you've
I've
got
been
that.
That makes so much sense because I've literally been wondering how he did it this
That's
entire
exactly how
time.
he
Because
did
I
it.
thought it was like this
Because
pseudo force thing. Like, yeah, it's just understood that he did that, but now there's a mechanism to the madness.
yeah, and I
Mm.
think this is kind of a theory on my end.
Okay.
Remember how him and Dooku get it together and they perform the Sith alchemy while Yoda is
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
warband? I think that's where they're going. Maybe.
Huh. Wait,
I don't know that for sure, but
that would make
why
sense.
not?
That would make
Because they're
sense.
because I mean this shrine is deep underground, and it's as far as I can tell, it's kind of like a wealth of Sith power, and you do not see Sith alchemy anywhere else in canon, except for right here. Whenever they do that in season 6.
Hmm.
So I think that's part of the reason. That's part of the reason why he was able to do the Sith alchemy. Because really, Sith alchemy is only explained in Knights of the Old Republic. You just don't see it anywhere else.
Well, that's an interesting tidbit.
Yeah,
That's something
and
to think about.
it makes a lot more sense that way, knowing that there's a shrine and a wealth of Sith knowledge underneath the Jedi Temple, and that's what helps cloud the Jedi's mind.
It makes me wonder if at some point they're going to clarify that and add it. But okay,
I
let's
don't know.
continue. Let's continue on. So Ahsoka tries to talk to him through hologram because the droids trap Rex in this hallway, sealing the blast doors around him. And then Ahsoka gets up behind him, and basically the droids electrocute him, knock him unconscious, and they take him to the med bay while the clones are beating down the door trying to get in. And they find out they can't find the inhibitor chip. That's what's so impressive about it because it was so well hidden that Ahsoka had
Yeah.
to literally use the Force, which they quoted that from Rogue One. I am the Force, and the Force is with me, or whatever it was
Yes,
called.
I like
And
that.
that was very cool. And so they find it, and they take the chip out, and that's when the clones start opening the door, and that's so this is what the next part I want to talk about. The effectiveness of the clones and how they were able to kill so many Jedi, using the medbay as an example. How they did it was because they just had sheer numbers in
Yeah,
guns. Like,
it worked the same way as how the droids were successful in the Clone Wars. They were just they outnumbered everybody. And if they had a higher number, even though they were absolutely stupid whenever it came to battle, as long as you had a bunch of them, you were going to win.
hmm
And that was the same way because you only have 10,000 Jedi, and then you have I don't know how many clones, but numerous, more than,
Yeah.
and more well on the way.
They were
As
like millions, I think, like 6, 7 million. That number may be
maybe
off, but I remember there was actually a defined number with how much they actually had.
I think it
Um,
might have been six, but I don't remember the reference of where that came from.
so, so Ahsoka is she's having to use the Force push multiple times. They keep coming through the door. They're opening fire. She's trying to block it. One saber gets shot out of her hand. And she's just like, "Oh my God, shut the door, shut the door!" And Rex comes in at the last minute and just goes, "Bah!" 3 clones
I
dead
know.
without a second's hesitation.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty powerful. That just shows their friendship and how much he really
yes,
cares for Ahsoka, as compared to, because that's his brothers, and he talks about brotherhood so much, and
hmm
that's a big thing among the clones in general, brothers. And he didn't hesitate to just gun 3 of them down.
like they don't. He doesn't have. You don't even hear anything about like what that meant to him to do that to his brothers. And I think we may get a tidbit of that this next episode.
I would think
Um,
so too.
but wow, then she was like, "How widespread is this?" And he was like, "Ahsoka, this is every single person in the Grand Army of the Republic. Like we have targeted every single Jedi to be killed by Order 66." And
Yeah.
then the episode ends with the clones trying to break into the door and Ahsoka looking at the door,
And
which goes,
also, while we're on that note of the inhibitor chip, I had came into this. I'd come into this episode expecting, okay, maybe Rex has already removed that inhibitor
you
chip
see, yeah,
because he knew. I just thought it wasn't going to go down this way, but it makes it so much better that it happened the way
yes,
it did, because you can actually see all that's coming out as far as how he really feels about Ahsoka, how much he
hmm
cares for her, and also how much respect he has for her.
yeah, because the entire time I saw Rex through this whole season, I was looking at his head. I was looking at the
Yeah,
side of his head to see, okay, because there's a scar in Rebels where he's like, yeah, I have the scar right here. We got it removed. And
I
I'm
didn't
just thinking
notice
to
that.
myself, oh my God, like where is it? And you don't see it, and then Order 66 happens, and you just see what hits me the hardest is that from what I think, because I meant to say this earlier, um, because of what happened with Fives and because there's a message that he basically says on the droid's tape, where he said like something's going on with the inhibitor chip that none of the clones even understand what it actually is meant for and what it's supposed to do. And something tells me that part of his subconscious, from knowing that information, was able to resist it for just a long enough to give Ahsoka the information that she needs, before like he loses complete control. And I just think
Yeah,
that's so cool because the one thing I hated the most out of Revenge of the Sith, it's still a good movie. The one thing I hate is because you don't understand why. All you think to yourself is like, okay, clones went good and they went bad. That's it. But it doesn't make sense because they had such a close connection with their Jedi. Not all of them, mind you. Some clone battalions absolutely hated their Jedi leaders.
yeah,
Um, but like it didn't make sense for all of them. And there were some comics before the inhibitor chip was actually canon that like basically said like some clones actually had like their own like there's like one clone pilot that was stuck in space. His ship was destroyed, and he gets picked up by this random cargo freighter, and he actually finds a bunch of younglings in this freighter, and a clone battalion raids the freighter, and he was like, "Hey, how's the ship?" And he had a choice between telling the clones where the younglings are or saying it's clear, and he chose to say it's clear.
oh,
So
I have heard that.
yeah, so there's a lot of there's a few comics like that before like
Yeah,
the inhibitor chip was actually canon. But I like the inhibitor chip because like it doesn't make sense for all these clones just to be like, okay, kill, let's just mass genocide Jedi, shaman, Buddhist monk people for no reason.
yeah, but
Um,
it's funny because you don't even know about that contingency order. The only one that you know up to that point is 65, and 65 is where you kill uh, uh, Palpatine. I think that's right, because I
wow,
remember seeing a video of the multiple contingency orders that you see in, and it was an online source. I think it was through YouTube, but that video showed the different contingency orders, all of them up to 66. And I think 65 was you had to kill whoever the Supreme Chancellor was, which would have been Palpatine if they had known early on, like, okay, he's actually Sidious. Contingency Order 65, and then they
$10.
kill him.
You want to know why that order was a thing? Probably because in Phantom Menace, while this whole that was a weird noise. While did you hear that? Holy
No, I
crap!
didn't hear it. I
That
just
was
saw that
weird.
you went dark for a second. I
That
was
was,
like, oh
sorry,
crap, the
sorry,
stream
no,
ended.
no, no. So the Phantom Menace, Chancellor Palpatine was not actually Chancellor at the time. So what I'm
Yeah,
thinking
it was
is,
Chancellor Valorum.
what I'm thinking is, if he did not become the Chancellor, that order would have been put in place to use to rid the other Chancellor of Valoris out of office and kill him, so Palpatine could rise to power, just in case something
Yeah.
didn't happen with his plan. That's the only reason why I can make sense of that, but that may have I don't know, but
I don't know. There's no telling about that part, but
yeah,
it's interesting because Chancellor Valorum is still on the Clone Wars. I can't remember which season he's in, but there was a particular mission. Oh, it was whenever they first find out about about it not being Sifo Dyas that ordered the clones. Whenever it was Count Dooku and him being the one behind it, because they were looking into some files, I think, and they saw that it was blocked by Chancellor Valorum. Like, this is how far back it went, and they had to go to him and ask, okay, what is this particular file, and what does it contain? And that's what leads to the episode of them finding out that Dooku is the one behind all of it,
interesting.
if I remember correctly.
I think that sounds right. I need to go back and like watch some of this stuff to get some of the tidbits. But
Me too.
right now, let's final score for this episode. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
No
hesitation.
This is literally the easiest 10 out of 10 I've ever given out. This episode, and sorry about my dog barking in the background. He's an idiot.
My dog's been barking this whole time too. I'm surprised you hadn't heard him.
No, I haven't heard him. No. So this episode, PT, you know the one thing that I wanted in this season. You knew exactly what I wanted. I spoke it out multiple times. I wanted to see Order 66. I wanted to see what happens.
The only thing that I'm sad about missing out on is getting to see actually in the Jedi Temple and
You see,
storming the temple.
that was my next thing I want to talk about. So, Palpatine issues the order, and then Anakin. It's not immediately after, but like from how the scenes play out, then Anakin goes into the Jedi Temple to start raiding it. So I'm thinking that it happens just a little bit after that the order was issued, and that's where Anakin gathers up his half of the 501st to raid and take out the Jedi Temple. What I'm hoping for, and then now we've basically went through the whole episode. We've given our scores 10 out of 10. Go watch this season if you've not. It's so worth it. Go watch it or you're a bitch. Indeed. So let's talk about what this next episode is going to entail. So the next episode, I actually read it on Google, and because it gives you like kind of like a tidbit of like what is to be expected from this Clone Wars. Let me look at the schedule. Season 7.
And it's also going to be released early. It's being released on May the 4th.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, they're doing it on May the 4th because it's May the 4th Be With You Day. So
dude, you just made my day. You literally just made my day. I completely forgot May the 4th.
Yeah, but the only thing is, I'm not going to be able to watch it because I'm going to be studying and taking tests, which is going to suck.
Oh, man, you may be able to.
We're going to have to get on and do a video at the end of that week. So Friday, we're jumping on. We're talking about it.
I may end up doing it. I don't know if I can hold my tongue for that long. I may end up doing some sort of video, but we'll definitely have a big talk at the end, and we'll
have a couch conversation.
Sure. So we'll have a couch conversation. So the Google episode, season 7. So it's called Victory and Death. So, Victory and Death, Ahsoka and Rex must use their wit and skills to survive the turbulent end of the Clone Wars. So, as of right now, it looks like it's going to be 23 minutes, which I'm a little bit bummed about. Maybe this is not exactly true. Maybe they'll change that to where it's a little bit longer, because I think if it's a season finale in the end of Star Wars, they need to add something. Like they need to add like maybe 7 more minutes of stuff. I'm hoping that's what they do. If not, it's whatever.
What I
Um,
wish they would do is make it an hour-long finale, and you can see Ahsoka and Rex leave or get out of the situation that they're in, and then you can see part of the Jedi Temple invasion.
I want to see the Order 66 in the temple. We've not
I
seen
want to
it.
see it so
I
bad.
want to see Anakin. I want to see. Here's what I'm envisioning. While while Ahsoka is like trying to escape with Rex, and they're in gunfights trying to escape. You are seeing Anakin going nuts. Like, and both these scenes are playing at the same time. And like, I would just love to see Darth Side Anakin,
I
because
would love to see it too.
if you look at Rebels, he says, when the first time Anakin or Ahsoka notices Darth Vader, she feels him, and then Darth Vader says, "The apprentice lives," and then he pulls out,
Yeah.
and then they actually had that lightsaber duel in Rebels, and what I'm hoping to see is that maybe they actually have some sort of reunion before maybe this next episode, where like she sees him in action doing the terrible things he's doing, because it would just give it that much more. I don't know what to say.
I think we give it that much more depth and
It
emotion.
would give it that much more depth to see her master just fall. Not to hear about it or assume because the Force told you or she thinks something's going wrong. To give her definitive proof that something went down. And I just don't
Yeah.
want it to be a thing where it's just like, oh, hey, so what's up? Yeah, I just don't want that to be a thing because she didn't even know that Anakin was Darth Vader. I don't think.
Yeah.
Initially, I don't think. She obviously knew about Darth Vader through all the Rebels and stuff. So again, what I'm hoping for is for this May 4th. That is so cool that it's coming out May 4th, because that means I don't have to wait a whole week to see the finale.
Yeah.
Um,
And I believe that's what they're going to do. Because
is
I
it,
remember seeing a comment about it on, what was it? I think it was a
no,
Star
you're
Wars
right. I'm looking at it right now. It says May
comment.
4th. May 4th. Yep.
Good. I wanted to make sure I'm giving you correct information.
No, no, no. That's why I looked it up. No, you're right. You're right. So, my God.
But
Okay. Do
also
you have
another
anything you
thing,
want to
since
share? Yeah.
yeah, the one thing that I did want to share from this, I was looking online earlier. This comes from Master Mandalorian on Instagram, and he posts a lot of Star Wars content. Go check him out if you hadn't already.
Yeah.
The color change of Ahsoka's lightsabers was to show that Anakin was always thinking of her. It was also showing he was both controlling and overprotective of her. The decision for this change was made by Dave Filoni himself. And that is quotations, all of it was mentioned there.
Interesting. So that's why your lightsabers are blue.
Yes, and it makes
Okay.
perfect sense because, I mean, he said, I made them better for you.
So basically, here's my question though: where did he get those lightsabers?
Those were her old ones. That's her exact lightsabers.
Oh, was it
But,
really? I did not know that. Okay.
yeah, those were her real lightsabers. He held on to them. Because, really, after she was put in prison, she doesn't have her lightsabers anymore. Where did they go to? They
Oh,
went to Anakin.
yeah.
So, it
Interesting.
was her lightsabers, but the crystals were not hers.
So crystals, you can't just have different color crystals for the saber. It's actually it's determinant of like different variables, like the reasoning behind them. Like Anakin, they're blue because of. Okay, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to wrap my head around it, but like it still makes sense. And then she ends up having silver sabers.
Yeah. And the reason she had the silver sabers was because she killed and what was it? Where are those Inquisitor? She killed one of the Inquisitors, took the lightsabers or lightsaber crystal from that, and then she imbued her energy into it, and that's why she was given the gray, the white, whatever you want to call it, silver
Yeah.
lightsabers,
Hmm.
because she was so in the middle. She wasn't.
She wasn't a
She,
Jedi anymore, and she's not a Sith.
yeah, technically, and she has more ways of a gray Jedi than anything. She kind of reminds me of the way Qui-Gon Jinn was. He
Yeah.
was one of those ones that just wanted. He fell under the Jedi Consular, where they're the ones that like to just they let the Force do exactly what it needs to be. But she
Exactly.
understands both the light and the dark side, so that makes sense as to why since she's not a Jedi, but she understands both sides. So
Hmm.
she's white instead.
Yeah. It's
But I it still comes to beg the question: where did he get those lightsaber crystals from? Because you can't just get them. Did he go to Ilum and get them? Probably not.
Yeah. I
Unless it just came from the Jedi Temple, and that's how, like, say if you lose a lightsaber or it gets destroyed or whatever, then I mean you got to have a backup.
God, what a I'm just flabbergasted, dude. Like I can't stop watching the scene that takes place at 10 minutes and 40 seconds where she runs in and says Rex, like something's going on, and then you see the tears welling up in his eyes as he's fighting with everything in his body to warn her and tell her as he starts opening fire. Like that, God, dude, that's a. And then when the music just pounds in
Yeah.
with that music with Order 66, dun, 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 dun,
Oh yeah.
dun. Like it's such a powerful scene.
Yeah.
And
I had instant chills from
oh,
watching that.
I can't stop. I got it stuck in my head replaying because wow, Order 66, man, wow. Because the last thing that was on my list was just talking about was it the irony of the Clone Wars beginning to end, all that friendship and brotherhood to just end. Um, the first episode with Yoda with those three clones fighting off a battalion of droids, and Yoda just speaking life into each and every one of them. And
Yeah.
then this episode where they all just turn, and it's like the floor underneath you just got taken from you, and you're falling down. It's just such a flip because we watched the Clone Wars, loving every minute of it, thinking to yourself, "Man, I just want to stay in this era for all of time." Because it's such
Yeah.
a good time to be alive. The clones are great. They would do anything for you, and then they would do anything to kill you. And
Right.
it's wow, what a George Lucas. My
Yes.
I don't care what anybody says about the prequels, and how much they hate them. I don't care at all. Like I think Attack of the Clones was but then again, as I think about it, George Lucas crafted the absolute 110% foundation of a story that led to the Clone Wars being developed. I was there at the beginning of Clone Wars. I watched that crap through all the years. Like I was a little bit off on it. My freshman year or sophomore year of college, I actually spent all the time I had to go through the entire season, and I was so let down to see that it ended with that Yoda arc thing, and I did not like that. I thought that was kind of I thought that it was pretty lame because then they
For
canceled
season
it.
6,
Yeah, I was let down because I was like, man, I
I
want
enjoyed
more.
it.
I still enjoyed it,
I
but I wanted more. Um,
Yeah, I just with him going to Moraban and actually getting to see everything,
hmm
that was, oh God, it brings so much back from Star Wars Old Republic and all of
hmm
that. And it's just I want so much more of the Old Republic. Like you just cannot satisfy my Star Wars hunger until you give me something from the Old Republic.
Let's talk about the future of Star Wars then. So right now, they are planning new movies. They're
It's
planning
supposed
new
to be a trilogy.
animated. Yeah, I haven't heard. I've heard that. I've heard like the animated. They want to do animated stuff as well. Um, I think Star Wars is about to seriously open up in a huge way that like we didn't even think would be possible. Because hey, George Lucas is back. He
Yes.
is back I would say he's at the helm, but he has huge like leeway with like how the Star Wars franchise should go. Kathleen Kennedy is finally out of the way, and there's a new guy that's come in, and there's another guy coming in after that. I think I can't remember their name. Dave Filoni, I think. Not
Yeah,
Dave
he
Filoni.
was
There's
the one that did.
the
He was.
CEO who took Kathleen Kennedy's position.
Um,
There's
I
another
don't think
guy.
it was. I don't think it was the CEO necessarily, but the CEO brought this guy in, but I don't know what his name
Okay,
is.
something along those lines. I need to look that up, but the I because Kathleen Kennedy wanted Dino Rider Jedi's. I'm not
Yeah,
even kidding. Look it up. She wanted Jedi. She didn't want any wars going on. She just wanted Jedi to ride dinosaurs, and she wanted to put dinosaurs in Star Wars, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. She's probably also the reason why that stupid other animated series, not Rebels, but the other one, The Resistance, came out. and that was the ugliest, dumbest TV show of Star Wars I've ever seen. Because it's like they did the animation style of those old Cartoon Network, like those 3D-ish type shows. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but those are old type of animation that like I did not like, and I didn't even like those shows. And they tried to do it here, and it did not do well. I will not watch these. I don't want the Star Wars to be like a comedy. Like I just don't think I think if you do it well, it translates well. But I think that what makes Star Wars awesome is because you have the seriousness, you have the action, and then you have like the tidbits of comedy sprinkled on here and there to make it lighthearted. But you also have a very strong storyline
Yeah.
that continues to grow with each new iteration of new ideas. So, new Mandalorian season is going to come out. So that's going to be really cool to see that. I don't know when that's going to drop, but then I am calling it right now on the Professor Diehard YouTube channel. I think the next animated series they're going to hit is Old Republic.
I hope so.
I think what else would they do? Like in terms of animated stuff, I mean, like there's just they wouldn't do, in my opinion, they may because they had the main trilogy with the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, but they also had the original Star Wars, the Clone Wars, the OG.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
2002 or 2003 when that sucker came out. And it was
Yeah.
awesome. You can watch all of it on YouTube right now, like start to
Oh yeah,
finish.
and it's only like 2 hours. It's
Yeah,
the length of the last movie,
it
honestly.
is worth it to go see it and to watch it and experience it because, like, man, you're talking about bloody combat and like just ridiculousness. Grievous, oh my God, when Grievous captures,
Whenever
ugh,
there's whenever that one Jedi is sitting underneath it and Grievous is attacked and Coyote Moody's standing next to him, he looks like Shaggy,
I
and
know, yeah, freaking
he's standing there
Shaggy,
and he's like,
oh Scoob,
ah!
yeah,
He
loses his
runs out,
mind.
loses his mind, and then gets stomped on by Grievous. Is like,
Because that's what ended the first season was that scene, and then the second season came in with the Captain Fordo coming in with his freaking
oh my
ARC Trooper
gosh,
squad. That was so
freaking
awesome.
incredible.
It was an incredible moment, and they just gunned them down. And they escape with Kai Mooney, and they save Aayla Secura and the other guy. But anywho, so I'm calling it like this: they're either going to do the Old Republic, or uh, they're going to do this High Republic thing, but they're going to do kind of what they did with the Clone Wars and have like a series like happening in between the movies. And this is going to be coming 2021, 2022. So we don't have a whole
Yeah.
long time before this stuff is going to be coming out.
I hope they
Um,
don't do something that's High Republic because I don't see where the action is going to be from there.
well, there is
Because
going to be a war. It's not going to be a time of just peace. There's actually going to be a new war because Kathleen Kennedy just wanted no war, just peace time, and which is boring.
stupid.
That's stupid.
Yeah,
What makes Star
but
Wars
I would
awesome
hope it.
is the war.
The only thing that
Um,
doesn't make sense to me if they're going to do High Republic, are they going to do something that's 1,000 years ago? Because literally, this is one of the things that they talk about whenever they first discovered the Sith, and this comes back to Episode One, where they they haven't seen a Sith in 1,000 years, so they hadn't seen one since the time of what would be Darth Bane's. I think it's his attack on. No, it wasn't an attack. It was just where he pretty much turned all of the Sith against each other. They all wiped each other out. And then from that time forward, you don't see another Sith until one appeared, I think, 300 years before that, and it was a Jedi that turned rogue. So he wasn't really an actual Sith. He called himself Darth Geen or something like that.
well, we may see just a complete new addition. We I have theories. One of my theories is that they're going to move up the Mandalorian Wars from history a little bit, and they'll
And that's
make it.
fine.
I'm fine with that. I mean, like if they make the Knights of the Republic, they do the Old Republic, like the actual Old Republic. If they do it well enough without the Mandalorian Wars, I think it still could be powerful. But maybe there was two Mandalorian Wars. Who knows? I'm just saying they could do that. Some sort of conflict that's actually interesting. We have no idea yet, so we can't really speculate on that. All we can do is just, you know, assume what could happen. So that's still
Yeah.
open up to, to think about. But I think the most powerful thing they can do right now that every fan would lose their damn minds over if they did the Old Republic animated. Um,
Right.
I would like a whole trilogy of just the Old Republic, honestly. That's what I think they should do. Get away
I
from the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Give us new stuff because The Mandalorian literally was like one of the most popular shows of this last year. It
Yeah.
was nuts how many people who weren't even Star Wars fans that just rushed to check out this new TV series.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's something that's great about this streaming service because most people aren't watching TV anymore.
no,
You'll get to see these kind of things all the time.
yeah,
You can, as long as it's on demand or whatever,
mm-hmm,
and whether it's released slowly like they did with the Clone Wars or it's released all at once like the Mandalorian was. I mean, you can watch it anytime you want. It's so much easier, so much simpler to watch TV now than it used to be. You know,
mm,
even 5 years ago, before before Netflix really got big, I guess you could say it's hard to watch TV. You can't just sit down and enjoy watching TV anymore because there's nothing good on.
yeah, I agree.
Everything now that's good is, something like Disney creations where you can just go in and watch whatever you want to all the time.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the biggest thing that Disney's going to have to really think about is that once the Clone Wars is over, they're going to see a drop of subscriptions. Because
Probably.
I mean, from my knowledge, they got to really sell something that something's coming after the end of this episode. This of May 4th. They have to really tell us like, hey, something's coming in, be ready for it because no one's going to want to stay around and pay for a subscription service if there's no new stuff that's like one Star Wars related coming in. They may be having other stuff coming in, but like people, if you want the Star Wars fans to stay, you gotta keep shoving that crap out. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying Luke like actual good stuff. Just like keep doing the live action. Go. What I would love to see is an actual rendition of Republic Commando live. I
That
would
would be
love to
neat.
see, give us a story of just the perspective of clones, like an actual story that takes place from Geonosis all the way through, but like it's an actual awesome story about like a clone commando group like Delta Squad or another squad like Ion Squad. Maybe you can do all of them because they have a whole book series and all of them leading up to Order 66. Because one of the clone commandos uh, had a child with the Jedi. Like he fell in love with the
Hmm.
Jedi, and that's a whole thing right there. So
I knew nothing about that.
no, yeah, it's awesome. Like I read the first book. I don't know where all my other books went, but they're pretty interesting. So it's you have so much cool stuff to do, and I feel like, in my honest opinion, I speak for myself here. If other people are different, that's totally cool. I am tired of Galactic Civil War. I am tired of the Empire and Rebels. I'm tired of the First Order and Resistance. Where I find myself really loving where I'm at is like the Clone Wars. So either do something with the Clone Wars or go be innovative. Do a completely different era that like is super interesting that we haven't seen
Yeah.
before. Like there's a whole era like after the rebellion where there's like Admiral Thrawn and the rebellion team up to fight this other alien species that comes in
Oh
and
yeah,
like
they use on Vaughn.
they use on Vaughn. I mean, you could totally do that. That'd be cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's still rebellion and empire, and I don't really care for him. But
But the
it's
only
still
thing,
something.
only thing is, Thrawn's dead now.
Yeah,
Technically, that's what
yeah,
sucks.
yeah.
But he was killed off in the last Star Wars Rebel.
See, I never even watched Rebels. I only watched like the most important scenes,
Yeah,
like with Darth Vader versus Ahsoka, because like that, oh man, in my opinion, the most powerful scenes in animated Star Wars have to be what we just saw today with Episode 11,
hmm
or Ahsoka versus Darth Vader. It
yeah,
is those are oh my god, they are some of those scenes are more powerful than a lot of the Star Wars movies combined.
yeah. And did you
Um,
know that Ahsoka wound up getting out of that fight too? She was alive.
Yeah, I did see that because what's his name? I don't
Ezra.
Ezra. Like I don't understand the episode what was going on, but basically Palpatine was wanting him to join him, and then he was able to go through the Force or some time thing and like grab her out of it and save her life because she technically did die, but like apparently there's time travel weird stuff going on, so whatever. But yeah, so she is alive.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't know if you knew about that or not.
yeah. That's a good thing to talk about though. So Darth Maul's
But I would,
dead because Obi-Wan kills him. That was a cool scene.
yeah,
Some people hate that they didn't actually have a lightsaber duel, but then again, you gotta think about it. Obi-Wan's not messing around anymore. He's lost
yeah.
everything, and Darth
The
Maul's
only thing
still.
he has, the only thing he has left is protecting Luke, and that's exactly what he did. Was he protected Luke? Because if not, if Maul had killed him, he would have took Luke and possibly trained him.
Yeah.
Because all he
So
had to do was just kill Owen and whatever the Lars family. He would have just killed the Lars family, took Luke, and trained him to fight both Vader, his father, and the Emperor.
yeah,
And he would have been in control of the galaxy from there. So he knew he had to kill him outright.
I'm just going to tell you right now. I don't really want like a smuggler story. I don't really want. I
No.
want like an actual military, like big battles, like you know, be Star Wars about it. We've already had the
Yeah.
fun stuff with with the last Return of the Rise of Skywalker. With I don't know how to explain it. I just give me some good stuff. Lucasfilms, Disney, because Lucasfilms has basically come back. I mean, they're back trying to make good stuff, and I think that the only person that actually knows what's best for Star Wars is the guy who made it.
Yeah.
Um, so
And so now he's employed by Disney and he is creating content and making changes to both the 7, 8, and 9, and then whatever else is to come here in the future with 2021 and
and Hayden
2022.
Christensen is back. Like
Thank God.
he has been massively like outspoken. Like everyone like Daisy Ridley, the guy who played Poe, Finn, they've all been like speaking out against Kathleen Kennedy and the crap that went down on the set. And
Yeah.
Hayden Christensen, he was very much wronged. And like I think the biggest God, The Rise of Skywalker was not a horrible movie. It's still I give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10. But like there
Yeah.
were so many things that they should have done to pay homage to people that made Star Wars what it is through the years, and they didn't. Especially with Hayden
Yeah, they
Christensen.
pretty much stuck a dick in it and said, "Here you go.
Yeah. So
Get fucked." That's all they said.
God, just guys, this episode. Is there anything else that you want to talk about or mention?
No, I only wanted to mention that one thing that Dave Filoni said. That's really all I had.
Guys, this episode is worth your time. If you've not seen the other episodes, I'm just going to say this right now. The only thing that really bums me out is I really wish we had more screen time with this season because there was so much time wasted with the whole Ahsoka and the other two chicks. I can't remember their names because they're so unimportant. I
Yeah.
really hate that so much. They could just condense it to 2 episodes, and I would have been completely fine with that because that would have given us more time in Order 66. But I
Yeah.
still stand my ground and say that this episode honestly has made up. These last few episodes have honestly made up um, the faults with that. Because you look at the actual scoring of because like on the schedule thing on Google, it actually gives the scores of all the episodes. So if you go over here, go to season 7, and it gives a score. How many stars basically? Bad Batch 8.4. Distant Echo 8.3, On the Wings of Caradoc 7.8, Unfinished Business 4.8, Gone with a Trace 6.6, Deal or No Deal 6.3, Dangerous Debt 6, and then Together Again 7.3. Then now these 9, 10, 11 have like 9.8 and 9.9s. So you can tell like a lot of people, the score went down with some people with the Trace storyline, which I think it should have because it was pointless. So
Yeah, I
guys,
mean that was 4 episodes that we missed out on some big
other stuff you
things.
could have seen. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
we could have seen some scenes from Revenge of the Sith that were made into an animated form, an animated, style that could have really did some more world building. You
yeah,
know,
but I don't think Dave. I think Dave Filoni was trying to get away from that, and I remember seeing an interview with
that
him where
is
he
right.
said the exact same thing. Where
That
he
is
said
right.
they've already had their time. Now we have to focus on the Rex and the Ahsoka storyline. But
So
still,
I agree. I
they,
do agree.
they what I would have liked is done away with 5, um, 6. probably seven, done one episode of where Ahsoka is now, and
Yes.
she comes in contact with the Mandalorian woman. I can't remember her name. Whatever,
I can't
Satine's
remember.
sister.
Yes, Satine's sister.
We could have had her come into the picture, say, "Okay, I found Maul." She gets in contact with Anakin and Obi-Wan. Then they meet up. That's the one episode that you need. And then
I
the rest
agree.
of it could be simply whatever else could happen. We couldn't go. We could have one. I guess you could say kind of a filler episode where they go and fight something together with Anakin, Obi-Wan, Rex, and Ahsoka.
They
They do
could.
something, and, and
Something.
yeah,
Something.
and then after that episode, then you could go into, okay, they've attacked Coruscant, we have to leave. Then you could have all of this come about. We would have a much better storyline, and it wouldn't be nearly as bad. We could have the girls that were involved, but it, you know, we could have had something to where it led up to her meeting up with Satine's sister, then coming over to Anakin, and having you just have would have had a better storyline because you've had 1 through 4, which was all the Bad Batch storyline, and then you just hit a dead screeching halt of
Yeah.
no action
Yep.
with 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Yep. I am with you. Like the flow of the season, it's like you hit a bunch of speed bumps, and they were so
Yes.
unneeded for no reason. And I do think it makes me so bummed out to think that we only have one episode left, where we could have been on a better pedestal or a better foundation for the end of the season. So I'm just saying this: things that I want for this final episode. I want to see some Anakin going nuts, and I want to see the temple. I want to see the temple on fire. And this sounds really terrible to say out loud, but I just want to see the destruction because you never got to see it. I want to see, like, maybe they're trying to get in contact with some Jedi at the temple, and like it goes to the scene where like there's clone troopers gunning them down, and I want to see that, and I want to see Obi-Wan talk to Ahsoka. I want to just get just a little bit more sustenance with
Yeah.
everybody before they split, because Ahsoka doesn't talk to Obi-Wan ever again.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be the end. I want Obi-Wan to tell Ahsoka. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. I want Obi-Wan to tell Ahsoka, like, I'm going to go after Anakin. He's went to the dark side. Oh my
That would
God,
be
do you
something.
know how nuts of an episode that would be? Oh,
Yeah, but I don't think they're probably going to do that just so they can, you don't really know what's happened with Anakin, and that way she doesn't know who Darth Vader is.
at this point, Obi-Wan would have, been trying to escape Utapau, and then he would have rendezvoused with Senator Organa, and
Yeah,
with Yoda as well. So I'm hoping, just really clean up and really just resolve. Don't just go, we escaped, end of the scene, end of the movie, end of the season.
yeah,
No,
right.
actually, don't just end it with them escaping. Give us just give us a peek of everything else that was going on at the time that we didn't know about. Don't just end the Ahsoka Rex storyline. Give us just a little bit more that just goes, oh my God. Just to really fill in that just destruction the clones did. That's honestly all I want. That's
Yeah,
that I feel like if you did that, you would end this Clone Wars. It I don't even want to say the words. The end of the Clone Wars.
yeah,
I hate saying that out loud because it makes me so. It kind of makes me emotional because, like, as a kid, dude, I grew up playing the Battlefronts. I grew up playing Old Republic. I grew up playing, Republic Commando. I grew up in the Clone Wars.
yeah,
The Clone Wars is like a part of my soul. That sounds super nerdy and weird to say, but it's just the truth. Like, I grew up loving and adoring. I saw the animated movie of the Clone Wars. I mean, there's a movie, and then there's the series. Like, I saw
right.
the movie. I loved it. Like, it was just such a time to be alive. And also around that time, there were no Star Wars games coming out other than like The Force Unleashed, from my knowledge. And anywho, I think I've spoken enough. But guys, go watch this episode. 10 out of 10s for both of us here. And Hopefully, maybe PT will just have to stay up. We'll have to stay up Sunday night, and we'll just have to like watch the episode as soon as it comes out, and then go back to bed and do a video on it or something some other time. I don't know, probably
When
not,
that with this Sunday?
because like I from what I'm thinking is that the episodes come out like at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning for us.
Man, I've got an exam at 9 o'clock that morning.
Oh, never mind.
I cannot do
No,
that.
that's fine. I'm sorry. I'm just being. Oh
And then I
God.
have an exam at 1 that same day, so there is no way,
Let's see.
as much as I'd love to.
No, you're good. Episode 12 release time. All right, I gotta see what the time is gonna be released. Okay, so I want to read this real fast. There's some plot twists that could happen in the finale. Um, so three, the way gets explained ahead of Mandalorian season 2. The Clone Wars is unique because it's the first time the old Mandalorians have been revisited since the entire. But in Disney plus the Mandalorians, there don't. Okay. Uh, Explained. In other words, Bo-Katan takes her helmet off at all times, and we're meant to think that Din Djarin was rescued by some Mandalorian during the actual Clone Wars. So what's the deal? Why don't the Mandos in the same timeline as the ones who rescued Din Djarin act the same way? Because like the helmet, they take their helmet off, they can't be a Mandalorian anymore. So
Yeah.
that's a little bit different. Short answer is that the little kid Din was rescued by a different sect that the ones we see the majority of the Clone Wars. But wouldn't it be nice if someone took a break from the Order 66 action to address the little fact? We could do that. A post-Rebels flash forward for Ahsoka. Although the events of the Clone Wars absolutely must include the end of Revenge of the Sith, that doesn't mean the action couldn't hint at what might happen beyond the literal Order 66 action of 19 BBY. In fact, although the season finale of Rebels ended just before A New Hope, that series famously featured a flash toward the moments after the Battle of Endor and Return of the Jedi. This gave us a glimpse of what Ahsoka was doing in the time the Empire fell, helping Sabine Wren look for Ezra Bridger lost somewhere out in hyperspace. In other words, when Rebels ended, it cheated slightly by jumping ahead and showing us what everyone was doing post Return of the Jedi. Because Clone Wars is so focused on Ahsoka's journey, this could happen again. We're pretty sure Ahsoka will appear in Mandalorian Season 2, and that is... Yeah, because she is! That's right! She is appearing in Mandalorian Season 2! Did you... I forgot about that!
Yeah, she is.
Oh my god, this might be nuts. Ending the Clone Wars is depressing. Order 66 will be a huge downer. If the Clone Wars finale is smart, it will jump ahead and give us a glimmer of hope, which I do agree. In Rebels, we know an older Ahsoka and Sabine are out searching with hyperspace. Okay, so we got that. Ahsoka meets Baby Yoda.
Oh, God.
If Baby Yoda is indeed 50 years old, that means he's certainly around during the events of the Clone Wars, since these stories take place in 19 BBY, roughly 2 decades before the classic trilogy. Mando happens 7 years after the Return of the Jedi, or 9 ABY. Anyway you slice, the Mandalorian happens slightly less than 30 years after the end of the Clone Wars, not 50. So Baby Yoda is alive during the Clone Wars and is even a tinier baby. Could Ahsoka meet Baby Yoda in Season 7 episode... Well, no, not that one. Yoda seems some sort of want to have an additional chat with Ahsoka, which is mostly supported to be about Anakin. But what if Yoda saw Ahsoka as a kind of hidden secret weapon? Season 6 of the Clone Wars, Yoda has visions about coming to defeat of the Jedi. He doesn't know exactly when or how things are going to go to hell, he just knows it's coming. With that in mind, assuming Yoda knows about Baby Yoda, regardless if he's the father or not, it seems like he might be making some plans as to who he can trust with the knowledge. It's not like Ahsoka would get to hold Baby Yoda or be entrusted with Baby Yoda in the Clone Wars, but what if she met Baby Yoda? The Clone Wars finale presents in some ways the last time for us to get a sense of where Baby Yoda was during the Jedi Purge. And if we see him right now, it could explain a great many things. Bonus theory. Ahsoka meets Darth Vader on Mustafar. I was about to... Yes! This is
Wait,
the one
what?
I wanted...
What was
Okay.
that?
This is the one I actually wanted to mention. Okay. Ahsoka meets Darth Vader on Mustafar. I think that would be amazing. Because I actually
That would be
I have an idea about that. If we're talking outrageous, one theory out there suggests that Ahsoka could swing by Mustafar and see Anakin. The thrust of this theory is that there is a little bit of time for Ahsoka to drop in and see Anakin burning in the lava in between Obi-Wan leaving and Palpatine showing up. Far-fetched? Totally, but if it does happen, it could be pretty incredible. Here's my thoughts on it. She's going to, if they escape, because they're trying to find Anakin. Rex is worried about him, obviously. Ahsoka's worried about him. They go and they basically find out, because I think Obi-Wan, they'll have a conversation with Obi-Wan saying, hey, he's on Mustafar, I'm going after him now. They go after him. And like you get to see them having their final battle on Mustafar. And then they basically say, we have to get out of here because then the Emperor and the clone guards show up. But you know what's also funny? How did Obi-Wan get off that? Well, excuse me, no, that's no. There was obviously his ship and stuff, and he took Padme with him. But like, what if like Ahsoka and Rex were there, and they just added that into the scene where like they are there when they see Anakin's Padme having the kids and stuff, or if they have their own ship and they see that the Emperor and his shock troopers show up, and they had to run, and then basically you have a scene with Ahsoka just like in complete dismay, looking at herself like, oh my God, Anakin has turned to the dark side, it's over, and Rex puts his hand on her shoulder, saying, hey, it's gonna be all right, we got this. But then again, they also split up, and you don't really know how they split up or why they did. And you also notice that Gregor and Commander Wolf had their inhibitor chips removed. How did that
Yeah,
happen?
that's something I'd like to know too. That's
I
an interesting backstory because we think Gregor's dead whenever he has his initial entrance into the Clone Wars,
hmm
because he helps the droids get off that planet that was basically desolate, and then he's shooting up the entire place, and there's one big explosion, and you think, oh, he's got to be dead, and then he
Wait a
shows up
second.
in this.
Commandos don't have the inhibitor chips.
Thought they did.
No, they don't, because the ARC troopers and Commando inhibitor chips, they did not have them because they wanted them to think for themselves and become their own specialized warriors. I think it's just the Commandos, because some Commandos in the books they rebelled against the Empire and they actually got killed for it because the Delta Squad came in and Darth Vader like slew them. He slayed them. So what I'm thinking is like maybe Gregor doesn't have an inhibitor chip,
Okay.
so that explains him. If they talk about it, that's my knowledge at least. And but Commander Wolf is what confuses me the most because he's like if you notice him in Rebels, he was like losing his mind. He was crazy. So
Yeah.
why is he like that? Like what? Oh God, this is
Well, all of them are a
frustrating me.
little bit crazy too, honestly.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, how'd they lose their inhibitor? How did he lose his inhibitor chip if the clone commandos actually didn't have those chips? So
I
I
don't know, but I know Wolf would have one for sure.
he
Since you
would,
said that about the Commandos,
yeah,
then
he
Gregor
would.
wouldn't have one.
God, this opens up a whole different thing. Anywho,
It's a can of
it's
worms.
a whole can of worms, something to really chew on. But I got all the things I wanted out of my system. I didn't want to talk. I literally was like, PT, you need to watch this. He's like, I study. I'm like, dang it, crap. And then he finally watched and he said, send me the invite. I'm like, yep, it's about to go down. And guys, I'm just so glad we were able to talk about it. This right
Yes.
here is the pinnacle of Star Wars. This is what Disney missed. This is, oh my God, I'm running out of things to say, but like in all honesty and truth, this episode is a definition of what Star Wars should be. The depth that it carries, the emotion, the oh my God, the breaking of just the soul. Like when Rex was literally he was tearing himself to pieces not to gun down Ahsoka the second he got the order. Oh my God, it just shows just the depth of character they put into each of these clones and each of these characters in this series, and it's been a pleasure to see it. We have one more episode, and I am very excited to see where it's going to end. So, guys, if you can do me a huge favor, if you enjoyed this, if you have any ideas to make this better, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike. It helps me know what I can do better, and leave a comment and give me suggestions. Subscribe to my channel. We like to play various types of games, and we like to talk about Star Wars and stuff and hypothesize some ideas. In one of our other videos, our couch conversation, we actually had ideas of like if they did a live action Knights of the Republic, who would the actors be? And we actually had a really fun time doing that.
Yes.
Um, so guys, seriously, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you for kind of being there and helping the channel grow. I have 43 subscribers, and I'm blessed for every single one of you guys. So thank you all very much, and I'll see you on May the 4th, and a little bit early, but May the 4th be with you. Deuces.